If you were in medieval times, what job do you think you'd have? Like, what function do you think you'd fill in the medieval era?
So my ideal medieval job would be taste tester for the king. So everybody knows, but in medieval times and in like ancient times, everyone was always trying to freaking poison the king. So the kings would have taste testers who would eat their food before them to make sure it wasn't poisonous. And that is the job I would have. Because I'm down to try any food. I don't care if it kills me because it's medieval times. Like, my life probably sucks ass. And I'm like, if I'm gonna go out, it's gonna be doing what I love, which is like eating a delicious meal fit for a king.
So you're not worried about eating a poisoned meal and
Not
then
at
dying.
all. But I am worried about like eating the gross peasant food. Like, I just don't want to be eating the gross peasant food.
Yeah.
Like, and also most of the time it's probably not going to be poisoned. You know?
So
and
basically you're saying like I'm going to eat well.
Yeah.
And then
I'm
when
gonna die
I
eating
die
well.
is the day I don't eat well.
Yeah.
As opposed to the peasants where it's like they eat poorly all day. And then, eventually
and also they die anyway.
Okay, well, my stance in medieval times, okay, well, here's my thing. I don't want to do labor. I don't want to be violently killed. So that eliminates, peasant,
And
soldier, knight, sailor. That eliminates all those.
Yeah.
I legitimately, and I also think we can't just say like I'll be a noble because like we weren't born to noble families in this era. Why would we assume we'd be born in noble families in the medieval era?
I think that's also really true where we have to assume peasant status because right now we're peasants.
We need a profession. It has to be people who need jobs. So it can't just be like we're wealthy in the countryside. I think my profession in the medieval era would be priest. I legitimately think clergy would be ideal because your material needs are met. And ultimately your job is yapping. You're just talking if you're the priest. And ultimately, if you're a priest in the medieval era, you're talking about the Bible, and the Bible is a book. So you're kind of just like yapping about pop culture because back then pop culture just was the Bible. Like if books were the TV shows of the medieval era, then the Bible was just kind of like the best TV show of the medieval era.
Right. Like medieval clergy is like modern day podcaster about television. Recap. You're a recap podcaster.
Well, I would kind of like be like a medieval Bill Simmons.
Yes.
Yeah, and like if I saw like an exciting joust, I would like work that into like my
your material.
My material, yeah.
Yeah, and you'd be like, this is how the joust relates to God.
Yeah.
And the divine.
And then every now and then like you would have to like go and like give last rites to peasants, and that's just kind of like talking to people. You're just yapping.
Yeah.
And also I think if I'm not mistaken, like the priests were rich.
I think so because they're corrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, back then it wasn't corruption. It was just that's just how it was.
Well, you're a man of God, so you deserve more.
So I deserve all the money.
Yeah.
Cool. And so I think that's me. In the medieval era, I would be a priest.
Okay, so you'd be a priest. I'd be eating food that maybe would be poisoned. And yeah.
So I think we'd actually be kind of set up.
I think so. But I always say, like, when people go, like, I was born in the wrong decade, I'm always like, I wasn't, because I'm a yappy woman of color with opinions. So, like, I can only thrive in today's day and age. Like, even, in medieval times, you could be a clergyman in the body that you currently possess.
If I was set back there, I'd be a clergyman.
I mean, my race didn't even exist. You know what's crazy about my race? So I'm half Filipino, half Irish. But, like, my race, like, didn't even really exist until the, like, 70s, because Filipinos and like Irish people weren't frickin'.
Well, I'm half Irish, half German, and the thing about that is it's kind of always been around. There's so many of those guys.
You think that Germans and Irish were always frickin'?
I think in Europe, it's kind of, they were always kind of doing everything. It's the way like for a long time, like France was England, was
I thought
France.
no one wanted to frick Irish. Like, I just thought that, right?
Well, I don't know. I feel like...
I think Irish were considered, like, lowly.
Well, I think that they were subjugated by, like, the English citizens or whatever. But I'm like, no, I also think, like, at a certain point, you're just all in Europe. Like, also, like, who were the frickin' Germans to look down on the Irish? Like, it was all the same.
I think the Germans thought that they were really cool.
The Germans thought that the Germans were cool?
Yeah.
And they wouldn't fuck an Irish person?
No, because Irish people had, like, red hair. And they were like, ugh.
I think that
maybe I'm just making this up.
I think you're picturing like a leprechaun in your head, and you're saying who would want that. But the Irish had to have bred. Also,
I thought the Irish like bred with each other. I thought it was like until America, everyone was like one race. Am I crazy?
Midnight Milkshake.
Like, I genuinely thought that. I thought America was like the first time that like there were mixed race people.
No, okay, but you know what? Here's what I will say.
Yeah.
It does seem like before that, you would the only like mixing of quote unquote races. And by the way, we're all talking about white people in Europe here,
Right.
Before that, it would only be like when France and England were at war. So in order for the war to end, the King of France would marry an English person, and the King of England would marry a French person, and then they'd be like, "All right, we'll do the craziest thing we can imagine.
Yeah, and we'll breed French English.
We'll breed French English."
Yeah.
And no one was ever trying to, marry the Irish king.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't think they were. Like, we're joking, but like, I don't think people were freaking Irish.
I mean, it is crazy because like when the Irish came to America, everyone in America was like disgusted by them.
Yeah.
And it's like, they were you, right?
Well, it's also just really funny because it is the kind of thing where it's like, okay, like at a certain point, if you can't even tell I'm Irish, like by looking at me, then like, what does it matter?
Well, obviously, if we're just, but I think it's like, what role would we fill assuming that
yeah,
like,
I'm saying you could be a clergy person as a white man.
Well, you realistically, like you said, your
I
race
just don't
didn't
exist.
exist.
I just literally don't exist in any time other than right now.
Well, also, I'm 5'10", so
Yeah.
back in those days, everyone was shorter. So I would be
Yeah.
like, I'd be like a freak to them.
And I'd be normal. No, I wouldn't.
You would still be kind of odd.
Yeah.
Honestly, realistically, we would both be thrown in circus cages and just paraded town to town.
I would be in the circus, realistically.
We'd literally wind up right back next to each other, just in like cages
Yeah.
for medieval peasants to like, throw tomatoes at us.
Yeah. Hello, and welcome back to the podcast, Milkshakes.
I once again would like to reject naming you milkshakes. I don't enjoy it. I will voice my displeasure every single time.
Let us know what you want to be called then.
Yeah, you tell us. You know what I mean?
It's like when kids name themselves.
Yeah.
Would you let our kid name itself?
No, I wouldn't. And if our kid walked in the room and said, "Mom said my name can be Milkshake," I would say, "Your mom's out of her mind. And that's why she wasn't invited to Coachella weekend 1 or 2 in 2026.
You wouldn't. Speaking of Coachella weekend 2, I wasn't invited again. I didn't even realize. Okay, here's my thing about weekend 2. I didn't even know to have FOMO about it because I didn't realize there were also brands that took people for weekend 2. I would have kept going had I known, or would I have?
Well,
I was really tired.
I was under the impression that weekend 2 would be for essential workers, would be for elementary school teachers,
Right,
perhaps
nurses.
the unhoused. Yeah, instead it's just for more people who bought a ticket and brands. Crazy times.
Who knew?
I will
What
say-
is this world coming to?
I will say this about Coachella. I literally feel like all of the discourse about Justin Bieber's Coachella performance makes me feel like I'm taking crazy pills because on either side, on one side, I'm seeing people going, a woman could never get away with doing what Justin Bieber did. And on the other side, I see people going, well, Justin Bieber can get away with doing what he did because he's Justin Bieber. And then I'm kind of like watching all the stuff online, like reading descriptions, and I'm like, what he did is like perform his songs live with the voice of a damn angel.
Yeah, like he did a very straightforward, what we would all consider a good concert performance. And again, to compare his performance to Sabrina Carpenter, I was saying, okay, here's the real truth. And don't come for me, Sabrina heads. Also, let me say this. As a fellow short girl, I'm a big Sabrina fan of the vibe. I'm a big fan of the vibe, okay? So no shade, no tea, no shade. That being said, Justin Bieber has like at least 30 songs that all of us know and love that we like genuinely like to listen to. So it's almost as if like Justin Bieber got 100% on every homework assignment he turned in all class. And then the teacher said like, yeah, like, do whatever for the final. Do you know what I mean? Is that even a good comparison?
Well, I think a better comparison is it's like there was the final and Justin Bieber showed up in a sweatsuit and aced the final and Sabrina Carpenter showed up in a giant costume covered in sequins and like with skywriting above the school that said Sabrina vibes, and then she flunked the test. And then people are going, wow, look at Justin and look at her.
Yeah, but it's like also we need to, I think just with this analogy, Sabrina didn't turn in any homework all semester. Like she doesn't have any songs that we like really like that much. No tea, no shade. I got really excited when I saw the clips of her singing Like a Prayer by Madonna because I really am like, no, she's a really talented vocalist and performer. But I'm like, dude, her songs just like don't do it for me. They're just like not bangers. Well, Like a Prayer, her singing Like a Prayer, I'm like, Sabrina, just do covers challenge. I would love that.
Well, her songs are bangers. They're banger TikTok audios, right?
Mm-hmm.
Even Espresso is like, it's good. It's good.
Yeah.
It's a good song.
But it's no Sorry by Justin Bieber. It's no anything like Justin Bieber.
Yeah.
Justin Bieber's worst song is better than Espresso. I feel comfortable saying that.
And you might be thinking like, well, why would you even compare the two, right? And I'm like, because that's all I'm seeing. I'm seeing people being like, Sabrina couldn't get away with what Justin Bieber did, or vice versa. And I'm kind of like, again, Justin Bieber didn't get away with anything. He sang his songs on stage, again, beautifully. He sang the songs we all want him to sing exactly as how we'd want him to sing them. Like, he did
But
a
you guys
concert.
acted like he phoned it in. He didn't phone it in.
No.
He sang beautifully live.
Well, people act like Justin Bieber went on stage and just took a dump in the middle of the stage and then napped in his own shit. It's like, no,
Yeah.
he simply went out looking cool, sounding cool, singing the songs we all think are cool. What are we talking about?
I do think Sabrina Carpenter also, dare I say, is setting kind of an unfair precedent where I'm like, no, you shouldn't have to do like skits in between every song to like have people think that you weren't phoning it in. Oh, now Sabrina has made it. So anyone who doesn't build a life-size animatronic Paul Bunyan and fuck it on stage is lazy.
People like, all Justin Bieber did was sing his hit songs. Sabrina Carpenter had Susan Sarandon delivering a dramatic monologue from inside a car. And I'm like, I like Susan Sarandon. Susan Sarandon delivering a monologue from inside a car is not really what I'm looking for from a concert experience. But again, maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe I'm a fool. Maybe I don't get it.
Yeah, we also weren't at Coachella.
Yeah.
So ultimately, what do we know? about
Ultimately,
any
what
of
do we
this?
know?
But from what we can discern, we think that Justin Bieber did above and beyond.
Yeah.
He did great.
And also Sabrina Carpenter, it seems like she did well, but it seems like she was maybe compensating for not having a catalog of hit songs that we love on level
Yeah.
with Bieber. And that's okay.
And that's okay.
But then what are we doing writing articles about like, could a woman get away with what Justin Bieber did? Also, I'm not even trying to be rude here. Rihanna, Adele, Taylor Swift, boom,
Yeah,
boom,
they
boom,
all
boom.
just show up and sing.
Billie Eilish could also do it.
Yeah.
In fact, dare I say, most women could.
Yeah, we're not
It's-
like letting him get away with anything.
Well, I also think, okay, I think the Justin Bieber, Sabrina Carpenter kind of Coachella debate discourse has kind of unveiled what I would call like the different levels of pop stardom, where there's people who can sing good and have a lot of songs that we like. Justin Bieber, Beyonce, Adele, I would say that. Then there's people who can't really sing that good, but they have a lot of songs that we like. I would say Taylor Swift, Olivia Rodrigo. I would say that's probably
I
true.
would say that's probably true.
I would say the third tier is people who can sing great, but they don't really have a ton of songs that we like. And I would say Sabrina Carpenter would fall into that. I would say Shawn Mendes would fall into that.
yeah.
I would say Jason Derulo would fall into that. Like, there's a lot of people who can sing really well, but they maybe don't have the catalog to match their songs. And I would say like Sabrina Carpenter, like you said, like she sounds so good when she's singing a song that isn't hers.
Well, she sounds so good. Like it's crazy.
And also, to be clear, I also like her songs. Fine. I like them fine. I like
them fine. I just think like, dude, objectively, Justin Bieber has some like all-time bangers, and a lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot of all-time bangers. Also, like, not to be rude, I do think like 10 years from now, people will want to listen to like Where Are You Now and Sorry, and I don't think people are going to listen to Feather 10 years from now. That would just be my prediction.
You don't think people are going to be jamming a house tour in
I
2036?
just don't think so. And maybe I'll be eating my words and like house tour will be everywhere in 2036.
Well, I would also say like this is also a thing where I'm like, again, I would say like Sabrina Carpenter has A+ branding. I would say at least an A singing voice, and I would
Yeah.
say her songs are in the B+ range. I would say Espresso is a good song, but the very fact that we talk about Espresso as if it's Sabrina Carpenter's magnum opus, and that would be like that's like mid-tier Rihanna.
Yeah.
That's mid-tier Rihanna.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
That's okay.
But also, like, they're doing different things.
Yeah.
But again, people are acting like, yeah, Sabrina Carpenter's like building the It's a Small World ride between all her songs. I'm like, yeah, because she's at a stage of her career where she's kind of got to compensate for not having the catalog yet. And again, she's like 2 years into her mainstream pop career.
Right.
So like Bieber's like 20 or something, like something absurd 20 years in. So it's like, yeah, obviously like they shouldn't be at the same point, which is why like trying to discuss them as if they are is kind of crazy.
Right.
Also, people keep being like, oh, well, he just watched YouTube videos on his. I'm like, well, first off, he clearly did a choreographed, planned out. Like, the fact that it felt spontaneous that he just pulled up YouTube is the result of work. I also think,
We as performers, we know this. When someone is on stage and things seem impromptu or spontaneous, that is always the work of careful planning.
Yes.
You can basically not seem cool and effortless without being extremely effortful.
True.
In a live context.
Yes. Also, it's like Justin Bieber did not just like pull out his MacBook and go on YouTube because how would you do that?
Well, also it was kind of like a commentary. Like he's had a camera on him his whole life. Like I think there was a lot of, I'm not going to get into the analysis of it because there's a lot of like Substack pieces you could read, but I think it was very like deep and meta actually.
And this is, by the way, these are just the takes we have not even being invited to Coachella.
Right.
So just imagine what it's going to be like when we are.
Next year with the army. Just kidding.
Yeah. I do think that, look, just because I want to be clear here, just because we weren't invited to Coachella either weekend doesn't mean that we're not still living that influencer life. Because Dana and I recently, like, we were just driving to get our morning coffee in LA, and we weren't really near our normal, like, coffee shop. So we thought, we'll go to, like, this kind of cool coffee shop that Dana had seen on TikTok that's, like, in Beverly Hills. So we show up to this coffee shop. There's a line of girls like out the front. We're like kind of weird. And then we just walk in to order our coffee at the counter. And then we look to our right and a huge section of this coffee shop is sectioned off with a bunch of influencers sitting at like a long table. And who's at the head of the table but Alex Earl herself?
It was an event for real actives, you guys. Like, what are the chances that Robert and I, like, we're just like in Beverly Hills and like right at the moment we decided to go get coffee at this place, whoa, we walk into a real actives event. And also keep in mind, this is like 2 days into peak Alex Cooper drama. And I'm sure at that table they were discussing the Alex Cooper drama. But it was so interesting because, I mean, should I talk about my sordid history with Alex Earl?
No, because let's tell the story first.
Okay.
I know you just want to talk about your sordid history. You have no sordid history.
Okay.
I'll give we're gonna,
Go
I
ahead.
also think I also do think it is just so funny because like we obviously walked in like our morning hoodies and like the pants we slept in. We're wearing sweatpants.
Yeah.
And the thing is like I think we're both like good looking people on average, but compared to like that like section of the room of influencers, like we may as well have just been like orcs down from Mordor. We look like pig people.
I put my hood up and I put my glasses on and I was like, I will not compete where I do not compare.
Well, we literally, I've never been more certain that if we had taken like 2 steps toward that event, we both would have been tased.
Oh, 1,000%.
We kind of like, again, and it's also like we do have followers on social media, not to brag. We do go viral occasionally, but when you're when you're like compared with like true influencer culture, it actually doesn't matter how many followers you have. They're going to tase you if you try to get near them.
Well, I always say, or I've been saying recently, social media, getting kind of famous on social media is like joining a high school where it's like, once you have a certain amount of followers on social media and you're a certain amount of visible, it's like, okay, welcome, you've been granted admission to social media viral high school.
Yeah.
But as we all know, it doesn't matter if you go to the high school because there's still the cool kids at the high school.
Yeah.
So even though I would say Robert and I both go to social media viral academy, we're not there at the cool kids table and we're like, we are the losers at social media viral academy.
And by the way, I was explaining this to my 93-year-old grandfather having some health problems. I was on the phone with him. It's my one phone call. I mean, who knows how many phone calls I'll have left? And I'm like, no, so I have enough followers that I'm at the social media viral academy, but I can't sit at the cool kids table or Alex Earl will tase me.
Like, that's what it feels like though. And I genuinely am like, you go your whole life and you think like, oh, if I can just be at the right school. No, you don't just be at the right school. You have to be cool at the right school. And what I've realized about me, Dana Donnelly, doesn't matter what school I'm at, never cool there. Isn't that weird?
Isn't it interesting that your internal monologue is always about how you're not cool in school?
Yeah.
And you've been out of school for a decade plus.
But I always am finding ways to compare whatever phase of life I'm in to this is like high school if.
Where in many ways it's not like you're a loser in high school. In many ways it's like you're a 31-year-old who wasn't invited to Alex Earl's influencer event.
Exactly. But I was saying, so you guys, you might not know this because I don't talk about this a lot because I don't want to clout leech and I don't want to seem bitter. And also I don't want to seem like a loser. But then I realized I am a loser. So what am I really afraid of?
Okay, Alex Earl followed Dana on TikTok for like a week, a year and a half ago.
She followed me for a couple months.
And then she unfollowed Dana.
Okay, so April of last year, I'm going to mythologize it because this was this was huge to me. Am I allowed?
You're allowed to mythologize it, but I do think it's
What?
like, I just wanted to make it clear to the audience at home that what we're mythologizing is Alex Earl followed Dana on TikTok and then unfollowed Dana on TikTok.
But that's a big deal. Am I crazy? Okay, you guys. In April, the day before my birthday last year, the day before my 30th birthday, I see that in my TikTok messages, I now am mutuals with Alex Earl.
The day before what birthday?
My 30th birthday.
Go on.
I realized that I'm finally TikTok mutuals with Alex Earl. And I'm like ecstatic. And I'm like, just like, this to me was so validating. It was like, I'm on the right path. I was like, I'm doing the right thing. I should be posting on TikTok. I'm a real TikToker. Alex Earl follows me. And it like really boosted my confidence. Like, I won't even lie. Like, to the point where too, she was at Coachella weekend 1. And I was like, I wonder if she'll invite me to come hang out with her and her girls. Anyway, why are you looking at me like I'm so pathetic? I'm just telling you
I'm
what
not looking at you any sort of way. I was just kind of looking at you as you told your narrative. Yeah, you were wondering because Alex Earl followed you on TikTok, would she invite me to be with her girls?
Obviously, I was really excited about it, and it just like kind of spun out of control in my mind, and I was building out kind of a parasocial narrative, whatever. So she was probably right, but then I realized 6 weeks later, so when you mutuals with someone on TikTok, it says like your friend every time you like see their TikToks in your feed. One day, your friend was gone, and I like then you were like maybe she unfollowed a bunch of people. I go to her profile, no.
Maybe she sensed that you were the type of person who was developing a parasocial relationship with her following you.
And if so, then it's valid. It's whatever. I don't know what it was, what video made her unfollow me. I was really sad because I also said in a YouTube video that she followed me and it was one of my favorite things of April.
You did?
Yeah, I said
Well, then maybe legitimately that is why she unfollowed you. Maybe like someone caught that you referenced that she followed you on YouTube.
Maybe that video had like 1,000 views. I
don't know.
Well,
I also think it's important to remember that actually you weren't even like a big Alex Earl fan before this.
No, I wasn't.
You
but
weren't.
I admired her. I bought her light.
I think you retroactively mythologized your own relationship with Alex Earl's content after she followed you and even actually more importantly when she unfollowed you.
Well, yeah, it was actually more important when she unfollowed me.
Maybe the real gift was unfollowing you because she gave you some real kind of myth-making foundationally.
It was myth-making, yeah. But anyway, so when I saw her in person, did I want to go up and be like, why'd you unfollow me? Yeah, but I knew I would get tased.
You would get tased. That in the background of Alex Earl being like, guys, I'm so excited to launch my new brand, Real Actives. And in the background, you see Dana just scurrying up and like a bodyguard just pouncing on Dana.
Yeah.
Just bzzz. Yeah, if you look in the background of that Real Actives event, in the foreground, you'll see a bunch of, beautiful influencers all in their glam. And then you'll see a little gremlin in her hoodie getting electrocuted by 6 bodyguards. Yeah. And that's really like who you want to be at these events. Well,
tag yourself. I'm the girl getting electrocuted.
Tag yourself in the girl getting electrocuted.
Yeah.
You post it. You're like, had so much fun at Alex Earl's Real Actives event. And it's you on the ground like convulsing.
I did ask Robert to take a picture of me with like Alex Earl on her table in the background, and he said no.
I said no. Well, because obviously, also because
that would be a really funny picture.
It also is funny to see any sort of like influencer event in public because you see like the influencers having a so-called like casual get together, and then actually just in the periphery are all of their team. So it's like the publicists, it's the agents, it's the managers. So like there's like a bunch of girls at this table, and then like 3 yards back, there's a whole perimeter of just like normies in suits.
Well, it really does give children's birthday party and parents. And I was saying like there does become a certain level of famous where you just have a babysitter with you. You just you're being babysat. There's like this table of beautiful girls and then there's their babysitters.
Well, in Oscar acceptance speeches, where they're like, I want to thank my agent, I want to thank my manager, they're thanking their babysitter and their nanny.
Yeah, that's their babysitter and their nanny.
I wouldn't be able to do this without my agent. I wouldn't have gotten here without my manager. They're saying I wouldn't have been able to change my diaper without my babysitter. I wouldn't have been able to cut up my food without my manager.
And that's like true though. It's like their manager's like bringing them coffee. Their stylist is like literally like zipping them into their pants.
Their publicist is like holding a taser and just daring someone to demand why they were unfollowed on TikTok.
And I would have loved an explanation, but actually probably it would just hurt my feelings.
Well, honestly,
it's probably better that I don't know.
Well, her explanation probably was just like, oh, I followed you because I thought a video was funny, and then I started to get weird vibes from you.
That's so sad to think about.
It isn't. And I also think this is so crucial. You don't even believe that.
Okay.
You don't even like the content. You're not even like really there.
Yeah, no.
You literally only have retroactively made Alex Earl some sort of foundational figure in your life. Also, you are a generation older than her.
I realized in my life what always bothered me the most, or like the kind of bullying and ostracization, I can never say that word, that has affected me most of my life is the silent treatment or ignoring. Like when people have ignored me, that has made me feel worse and done more to like my self-esteem than when people are directly mean to me. When you're directly mean to me, I actually can handle that. And if anything, I kind of like it. Not to be like perverse.
Yeah.
But like, I'm like, I don't mind it. Like, if you're like looking at me and saying mean shit, like, okay, like I was way less upset when like this kid I sat next to in 6th grade told me I had a mustache than when like the girls that I was friends with in 6th grade like randomly stopped sitting with me at lunch. You know what I'm saying by that?
Yeah.
Like, it's like I would rather be verbally bullied than the ignoring kind.
Well, it is like that whole thing of like exclusion can be very much be a form of bullying.
Yes.
That being said, and one of the great journeys of my life is accepting that no, I wasn't bullied. I just wasn't that popular.
Right.
And I do think that is the ultimate arc to like be able to accept because also like emotionally, I literally feel like the effect a lot of times is the same. Do you know what I mean? Where I'm like, wow, I feel like such a lonely loser. And then ultimately though, it's like, yeah, but like, was I actually bullied or was I just not invited?
Well, it's always just the expectation reality of it all. It's always the, you know, you grow up, you're watching all of this media about what high school is like.
Yeah.
And all the media about high school is always like depicting either the popular kids or the losers.
Yeah.
And when you go to high school and you realize like, I'm not even a popular kid or a loser, just like no one gives a fuck about me at all.
Yeah.
It's like that is.
I'm in the middle class.
I'm in the middle. I'm in the high school middle class.
Yeah.
And that is maybe the worst place to be because it's not something that's necessarily represented in media.
Well, also you always feel like here's the thing, you always feel like you're teetering on the edge. You have the hope of I'm about to be popular paired with the fear of I'm about to be a loser.
Well, you can never achieve stability.
You can never settle at all.
But I guess that's like in general how the middle class, the corporate middle class feels as well. Like, you know, you're always worried that you're going to be fired. Like you get the high paying job, but then you spend the rest of your days being scared that you're going to lose it.
Yeah, if you're in like the actual American middle class, like you're constantly on that middle ground between like you feel like you're just about to become super rich while also feeling like you're just about to be like kicked out of your house, foreclosed on, thrown in the streets.
And you like occupy that space forever.
Well, you have the stress of like, well, I can't have fun or spend time with my family because I know if I just work a little bit harder, I'll finally be able to break through and be upper class. At the same time, like every night you're tossing and turning, like you're like, how am I going to be able to pay my bills tomorrow? Because I'm like, oh man, if I have one setback at work, suddenly I'm going to be poor. And there's no rest.
Yeah, there's no rest.
There's just no
and there ain't
chilling
no
out.
rest for the wicked.
Yeah.
And then I also think again these corporate jobs do this really interesting thing. And I say this as someone who my dad was someone who like I would say probably thrived in corporate America from what I can discern. Like he like steadily rose the ranks at the same company that he was at over the course of like many years and ultimately was at like a pretty like high and well-paying position in the end. But I know there was never a day where my mom wasn't like hinting that he was gonna get fired any day now.
Yeah.
And I think that that's so funny because it's like, it's just, and again, it's, how do I say this too? Corporate America also does this really interesting thing where they like kind of, as you get promoted, they like bully you. You're like your boss and your other coworkers. They bully you into like buying nicer houses and buying nicer cars and like having more kids to like demonstrate like, hey, like buddy, like, you're getting that promotion. Like you should do upsize and get a bigger house. But actually they do that. It's like this big conspiracy to get you to
Upgrade your lifestyle.
Upgrade your lifestyle so that like when you get fired, it's even worse than like you could imagine before.
Well, what they tell you is in corporate America, they tell you that if you want to get that promotion, if you want to rise, well, it's like you have to actually achieve all of these like high status things before you get the promotion that would pay you the money for you to be able to afford them. It's like, well, you have to golf, which means like you have to like buy all the golf shit, buy all the golf lessons, like maybe even be a member of the country club. And then also like, well, you know, if you want to get ahead, like, you know, it's couples dinners, you got to be married. So it's like, and then, oh, well, you have to be a family man to get ahead at this company.
Yeah.
So it's like, I have to be a member of a country club with a family and I have to have a house before I can even get the promotion that would allow me to afford a country club, afford a family, afford a house.
And then once I get the promotion, I have a family and a house and all of these things, and I'm terrified to lose my promotion because I have all these things to pay for.
Well, it's a way that makes you like extra committed to the company. It's almost like getting jumped into a gang.
No, it is. That's like no one wants to talk about that, but I'm like, corporate American culture is gang culture.
It's gang culture.
It's gang culture. It's just different outfits. Some would say less cool outfits.
I think definitely less cool.
I think less swaggy.
Yeah. Well, it is like, and also like it is that thing too where it's like it also keeps you committed to that company specifically because they don't want you to have flexibility. Well, here's what you really realize. If you play your cards right, the way to do it would be to always jump company to company to company to company.
Well, and I think like every smart millennial and Gen Z knows this. And like one of my friends who I would say had probably the best career strategy that probably makes the most money now where we are, she would literally leave a job like every 10 to 12 months.
Yeah.
And I am like, no, she definitely, and she would get pay raises every single time and a title bump every single time. And it's like, you realize, no, the smartest thing to do is not have company loyalty. The smartest thing to do is keep getting poached, essentially.
Also, company loyalty only goes one way.
Yeah.
It's your loyalty to the company. As soon as it makes sense for the company to fire you or get rid of you or fuck you over, of course they will.
Right.
Obviously.
They don't care about you.
They don't care about you at all.
Yeah.
Well, I always think this. It's like, dude, I always remember this because like when I was in college, I had an internship at like a really tiny like sales office, and there was a guy there who had just been working at that company for a while, but obviously like was not a good enough employee to work at like a real office or get promoted by them, but he wasn't bad enough to get fired. So they just kind of stuck him in like this weird satellite office. And on my last day there, he goes, man, if I could do it all over again, I'd just get a job mopping the floors at Apple, Amazon, or Disney. And I'd just stay in that one company and I just climb the ladder. Also, it's funny to be like, really? You think if you could do it all over again, your solution would be like go to a bigger company? Also, I'm like,
I mean, that is like the 30 Rock arc where Jack Donaghy starts in the mailroom again.
Well, the whole thing is like only Jack Donaghy could get promoted. It's like you literally are so depressed that you're imagining how to relive your entire life while also being so arrogant that you're like, if I'm a janitor at Disney, I'll be CEO in a couple years.
Yeah.
You literally think you can work your way up an entire company.
But clearly also that's maybe why he was just like relegated to a satellite office. He's the kind of guy who spends his whole day like daydreaming about being the kind of person who would work his way up from being a janitor at Disney.
Well, I will say, like, this is always what I would tell people. My only job advice for pretty much anyone is quit.
Yeah.
Is quit. And that was the advice that was given me by our friend right before, because I was like on the fence about quitting my old office job, and she literally just goes like, you just should just do it. There will never be a correct time.
No.
And I will say this, because everyone immediately goes like, it's so hard to get a job, the job market's crazy. I would agree, but what I did was I just got like little miscellaneous jobs.
Yeah.
I just like did like
just get interim jobs.
Yeah, but also again, like, no, that is crazy. But also here's what you realize too, if you really dislike your job, you should quit it.
Yeah.
And you should like try to just keep going job to job until you find one you kind of like.
Well, I do think life is too short to hate your day to day.
That's true.
I think there's a certain amount of like obviously discomfort and like, okay, whatever, I have to do this right now. You can stomach in your day to day, but the reality is if like you really don't like something, you can't be doing it.
Well, we were out at dinner a couple weeks ago, and there was like an older man. He had to be like late 50s, early 60s, talking to a woman around the same age. And at one point, and it's one of those restaurants where they seated us kind of near them, and the woman goes, So do you like your work? And the guy goes, no, I dread going into work every day. And this guy was clearly successful.
Yeah.
He had a very successful
well,
air
and he was
about
like
him.
showing her all his company cards, and like clearly like he traveled a lot for work, and like again he seemed like he had a really good job that clearly he had been promoted well at and was well compensated for.
Yeah.
But he was like, yeah, I dread going in every day.
And at that point, it's like, is the compensation even worth it?
Yeah.
But also, it's like, you're in your 60s. Why stop now?
But they were hilarious. I think they were in their 70s if I had to eyeball it. But they were hilarious because they were like hitting it off. But what they were like laughing about is they were just like both roasting the fuck out of their grandkids. And I was like, as a person who like loves love, I love that these two 70-year-olds are like hitting it off. But as a grandkid, it does terrify me that like my life might be being used to help a grandparent find love.
I know for a fact that whenever any of my grandparents go out for dinner, they are savaging me.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, to get a glimpse into the way that like grandparents will just use their grandchildren's failures for freaking dinner time conversation fodder. I'm like, you guys are diabolical.
But here's what I will say. That's fair play if you're a grandparent, because unlike parents, like,
it's not your fault.
Yeah, it's not your fault.
That's true.
When parents trash talk their kids, it's always kind of like, yeah, but like, whose fault is that?
Whose fault is that?
Oh,
Right.
my kid's a loser. Yeah, you're the one. It's like a football coach complaining that his team's bad.
Right.
It's like, this is your team. You built this roster.
Yeah, you built the roster.
And it's like, and so like, again, that is like my always like whenever parents are like, my kid's got a bad attitude. It's like, this kid's attitude was built by you brick by brick.
Yeah.
You did this.
Yeah, you're right. I guess the grandparents have enough distance where like when they complain about their grandkids or like diss their grandkids, it's like, well,
Yeah, it's like,
what
okay.
do they really have to do
Well, it
with
is like
that?
the grandkid. It's like, I don't really have much to do with you. Like, you're in my life, but it's like, cool, I have feedback. I'm kind
Right.
of watching you from afar.
I got notes.
And I think that is a grandparent's right.
Yeah.
Also, it is so funny because I'm like, they're probably telling the story of like, yeah, we were next to this young couple. They were clearly eavesdropping our entire conversation.
And you know what? We were.
Well, today we were at breakfast and literally there was as soon as we sat down, a group of people around our same age sat down. We were sat down next to people and these people were like, they were living the life that like we would live if we were like 20% dumber, 20% richer.
Yeah, 100%.
They were
kinda,
also happy. They were crushing
They were
it.
so, well, they were hot. I said they're hot. They were hot and happy, and they just had the world's worst pop culture takes.
Yeah, they were so hot. They were so happy.
yeah.
They were all back from Coachella. They all went. They all were like, they were talking about how their friend is going to be in a movie and
It
their
was also
career's
someone's
taking
like, it was
off.
one of their bridal lunches.
And it was a
basically.
bridal
It was
lunch.
a bridal lunch. Famously, you know, Robert and I got married with no fanfare because we got no friends. So obviously take it with a grain of salt. Like, here's the thing. Do we have friends who would celebrate us at a breakfast? No. But do we have superior pop culture opinions to these people? Absolutely.
That's what we have.
That's what we have.
Oh, and by the way, okay, if you ever see us out, we are a couple who is silently sitting together, not talking and looking at our phones. And you might think we're weird or sad. No, we're eavesdropping on your conversation.
Yeah. You're like, oh, that couple has nothing to talk about? No, we do. Later, you. What we'll have to say to each other, we can't say here because it's mean and it's about you.
Well, obviously, I'm eavesdropping on this table. Dana's
Yeah.
eavesdropping on this table. And I know we're going to discuss this after we get away from this table.
But their one take that we were just like, oh my God, do you want to talk about it?
All right. Their take was basically saying that Euphoria is basically pornography, and they were referencing a scene in the new season of Euphoria where there's drug mules and they're swallowing balloons of cocaine, and
I
someone
thought it was heroin.
of heroin.
I don't know. It doesn't matter what it was.
It's
Whatever.
drugs.
Balloons of drugs.
And basically, people are saying it's so sexualized. And I gotta be honest, I've seen this scene. You can dislike Euphoria or like it. It's not sexualized at all.
No, I would say it's not sexualized at all. They're like, yeah, the balloons are coated in Vaseline. I'm like, yeah, that's literally actually how they smuggle drugs. And everyone is saying like, wow, this is clearly Sam Levinson's fetish. I'm like, it's clearly not. It's like not depicted in a sexual or erotic way at all.
Well, people would be like, well, if it's not sexual or erotic, then how would you explain how I was so aroused while I was watching? I'm like, what?
Like, and that is really my thing, especially with like this season of Euphoria. I would say if you think that it's perverted, that you're projecting.
Well, I feel like also, again, with Euphoria, like there's actual like sex scenes and nudity and stuff. So it just feels very weird to be like,
they're like trying to show also how gross it is. They're like in the same cut, like cutting to a girl dying.
Yeah.
Because the balloon explodes in her stomach.
And by the way, I don't even like Euphoria. Don't turn me into a Euphoria defender.
But we liked this episode.
We liked the new season.
Yeah, we're liking it.
But also part of why we like this new season is because it's like, it's not just like,
it's not just sex.
Yeah, less stylized,
and also
sexy.
But again, I think that if you think that the balloon drug scene was erotic or meant to be erotic, or if you watch that and go, Sam Levinson, you fucking perv, look inward.
And this is what we're thinking while we're eavesdropping on this table full of, what's that?
Hot, happy
rich,
people.
hot, happy people.
Yeah.
Dude, I just know that your grandma's sitting at dinners and she's like, you know, Dana was unfollowed by Alex Earl.
So I went to a baby shower this weekend, and here's my thing. I don't have a problem with baby showers, but I do think like baby showers as a concept are interesting to me. One, because they're just that kind of party that we like all are expected to have when we have a baby. Like, oh, well, you have to have a baby shower. And I'm like, do you? But two, I think it's kind of weird because it's literally you're throwing a party for someone you don't fucking know. And
like, you know about the baby?
like, I don't know this man. Like, I'm going to a baby shower for a man, like, I don't know him. Like, I'm here celebrating him, and it's like, what if he turns out to be, like, evil? Not that I'm manifesting
What
that.
if he has bad politics?
What if he has bad politics? Imagine you're at the baby shower for someone, like, really evil.
Yeah. And you don't even know it
And you don't even know it yet.
Well, it's like those pictures of like everyone's like posing with Jeffrey Epstein's. Like, what if I have a picture from like Jeffrey Epstein's baby shower?
Exactly.
I didn't even know.
Oh my God. I'm in the Epstein files because I went to Jeffrey's baby shower, the baby shower for Jeffrey.
When he was a baby,
But when
he's
he
the
was,
baby.
but he was in his mom's stomach. I didn't know.
Well, it's just like, again, like you're throwing a party for someone. I mean, obviously the baby shower is for the mom, but then just like say it's for the mom.
Well, then let's not call it a baby shower. Let's
What do you
call it like mommy day.
A mommy bath.
Mommy bath. Yeah.
That is perverted.
Okay. Anyway, but okay. So here's my thing. So the baby shower that I went to, it was for a boy, right? there's no dress code. I get the invitation. No dress code, doesn't tell you what to wear. I am like, okay, great. No dress code. I show up wearing pink. Yeah, I know the baby's a boy, okay? I show up wearing pink because there's no dress code. I didn't realize, walk in, everyone's wearing blue. And they all look at me and they go, wow, wearing pink. I'm like, there's no dress code. Like, if you are wearing blue, that's of your own volition. And they're acting like as if I'm wearing pink. I'm like saying like that
that the baby should transition.
Yeah, I'm saying that I think the baby should be a girl. But then there was like one girl wearing black. And I'm like, do you think that she's saying that she thinks the baby should be dead?
Did you say this? How was it received in the room?
I didn't say that. I thought that in my head. But I'm just like, what? Like, why is she getting no shit? She got no shit. The girl wearing black got no shit.
Did you get
girl
shit?
Wearing pink? Yeah, a little bit. Multiple people were like, oh, what are you trying to say? You're wearing pink. Oh.
You show up, everyone's...
They acted like I was being subversive. I'm like, there was no dress code.
You show up, everyone's wearing green, and they're like, Dana, you didn't get the memo. This is Shrek's baby.
Well, 2 people were wearing green.
Oh.
So that's also it. 2 people wearing green. 1 person was wearing black. I'm wearing pink. Everyone else was wearing blue. Again, it just made me feel like it's like one of those things where it's like, I'm sorry, were we supposed to be wearing blue? I didn't know that. Is that a thing at baby showers? You wear the color that the baby's gonna be? Is that a thing? Can
Well, you wear
answer that
not the
question?
color the baby's gonna be. You wear like the gender.
Sorry, the gender.
The color coordinated gender.
Yeah, the color that aligns with the gender.
You really made a fool of yourself at this one, didn't you?
Well, I didn't think so. Oh, and then apparently there was a registry. Didn't know there was a registry. Bought my own present. Didn't include a card, so I don't even know I gave them a present. But
Wow, you really rolled in all wrong. Well, here's what I will say about stuff like that.
Yeah.
Things like baby showers are like, I was never explained the rules of.
Yeah.
No one ever explained the rules of them.
Yeah.
Also, okay, you're right. I was told Dana was invited to a baby shower.
Yeah.
I was told that I wasn't allowed to go because men weren't allowed at this baby shower. But then apparently at this baby shower, there were men there. They were just like sitting at a different part of the party.
well, they weren't really allowed to partake in like the party activities. So I would say like,
Well, they were just like in a different room?
yeah.
Okay.
Like they weren't in, like there was a lot of like activities and like prizes to be won. And like men weren't allowed to like participate in the activities that you would have won prizes for.
It seems like there's a lot of politics in baby showers.
Yeah.
That it's like, what is, also, why is a baby shower inherently female only?
I don't know. That's what I was thinking. Where I'm like, aren't men equally excited to celebrate the coming of a new life?
Is it like, it feels like some old world thing where it's like the
Mm-hmm.
women of the village have to come together to like raise the baby all together because the men will be like at war in the field.
Yeah.
It feels very antiquated.
It does feel antiquated, but I also am just like, I don't know.
Me, when I'm not invited to a party, I'm like, actually, the party is
feels
antiquated.
It's actually out of date. Again, it was a beautiful party. No shade to the party. Clearly, I was doing something wrong. But I'm like, it just is interesting that, yeah, like Robert and I are 2 people who like, we both feel like I never got the manual. I never got the pamphlet on like, here are the kind of events that everyone has in this system, and here's how you're supposed to act, and like, here's what you're supposed to do. Maybe they should do like some sort of guide to that.
Well, I would say the biggest example of I never got the manual was when I went to college to stay in the dorm. No one told me you had to supply your own mattress pad. Nobody. My parents never mentioned it. No one else ever told me. So everyone else, it turns out, had like a mattress pad the whole year. I'm sleeping just directly on like the hard plastic mattress. I had back problems. I was 19
That's
with
crazy.
back problems.
It was definitely on our packing list.
What packing list?
Well, at my college, they gave everyone like a recommended freshman packing list. At orientation, they gave you like a list of things you should pack.
But what do you mean I can't go to like what's orientation? I'm already there.
Like, or not orientation, like it's in your like like you get like a bunch of stuff before you go to school.
I didn't get that.
I'm sure you did, and you just didn't look at it.
I didn't get it.
No, they do. They send, dude. Okay, if you've gone to college and you lived at the dorm, you know.
I swear to God, I didn't get it.
They literally had recommended like things you should have for your dorm. I remember this list explicitly because
swear to God.
didn't get a mattress pad because I was like, I don't mind, but it was definitely recommended to me to get a mattress pad.
I literally definitely didn't. I for sure didn't get that. Or you know what? No, maybe my mom got it. She threw it away.
Your mom got it and like threw it away.
I bet my mom got it and was like, I've got this covered.
Yeah.
My mom was always like, believe me, I know. You don't need a manual. I got it. Does everything wrong.
Yeah.
And I literally say this, like, I don't think I got normal until about 2 years after graduating college.
Yeah.
And it was just like incremental. I think I got a little bit normal every year, but I don't think I finally because like, you don't even understand social norms, because actually for the first like chunk of your life, you're dealing with like your parent norms.
Right.
And if your parents are weird, their norms are weird.
Well,
and then
they
you don't
throw
even know
off your whole perception of reality.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if your parents are kind of weird, dude, you don't even know what's normal. I think that's so real. I'm like, I had no idea what was normal. Also, again, even the community I grew up in, was bizarre in that, like, I mean, I'm from this community, Palo Alto. It's just very like a weird tech bubble with like everyone's parents are like in tech and they're all like really weird in a really specific way. And people have a lot of money, but they also like pretend like they don't. There's a lot of like, again, this community has its own set of rules.
Yeah.
And to the point where I remember multiple subs, we'd have like substitute teachers, and sometimes they would like freak out and glitch on us, and they'd be like, "It's not like it at this outside." Like, I'm not even joking. I wish I was kidding. One time, I had multiple substitutes kind of like freak out and be like, "Just so you know, Palo Alto's a bubble, and it's not like this when you leave."
And then they're instantly dragged out by humanoid robots being beta tested. They just drag the subs out.
You think I'm joking, but like that's real as well.
You know what's interesting?
What?
Do you ever have a memory from your childhood that at the time didn't seem weird, but looking back, you're like, that was actually crazy? Like, I remember in my second grade art class, I have a vivid memory of my teacher who was a middle-aged man with a beard. Actually, he was an old man with a dyed beard. So that's kind of who we're dealing with.
Wait, he had gray hair on top and like a black beard?
He had a strong black beard and strong black hair, but he was like, so he seemed like he was like in his like 50s.
Yeah.
But then whenever they would do an assembly where they would like recognize the teachers who've been there the longest, somehow this 50-year-old man has been there 60 years.
Right, yeah.
And then you're like, oh, he's trying to make himself look young.
Yeah.
But anyway, I have a vivid memory of him getting mad and then grabbing a stool, like one of the tiny art stools, and whipping it across the room. And again, it's just a bunch of kids and an adult. And at the time, I don't think that's weird because I'm a child and I'm like, that's exactly how I'd express my anger.
Yeah.
I'd grab something and throw it. Nothing
Relatable,
weird here.
yeah.
Oh yeah, he got mad, so he threw a stool. When I get mad as a second grade boy, I also just want to throw things.
Yeah.
But now looking back, I'm like, no, that was like a 70-year-old man having a crisis.
Right. He was throwing a tantrum.
He was throwing a little bit of a tantrum.
Yeah. And luckily for him, his only kids were witnesses.
But you know, like sometimes things that seem normal actually are weird, and then things that seem weird actually are normal. And also, let me be so clear. We're talking about the parent bubble. Everyone can be weird. We're weird.
Yeah,
but you
we're
have
weird.
to make, if you're weird, it's on you to communicate, hey, just so you know, it's normal elsewhere. Just so you know, here are the rules of normal.
Yes.
Like you can, like I'm weird, you can be weird,
Yeah.
but we have to know the rules of normal.
No, we have to know what we're supposed to be doing so that when we deliberately subvert that, we understand when people react a certain way to that.
Exactly.
And again, I think like when we raise our kids, I'm like, I want to raise our kids so they know what's normal. Like,
And then they can be weird.
And then they can be weird, but I want them to know what people around you will think is cool and what people around you will not think is cool.
And then we're going to say, hey, number one, if you have a ton of followers and you follow someone with not as many followers who's maybe on the rise, you can never unfollow them.
Or they will freak out.
Or they will freak the fuck out.
And you'll have to tase them at the launch of your skincare line.
And then they're like, but wait a minute. What if the person's like 6 or 7 years older than me? And we're going to say, get to the shed. And we're going to have a punishment shed.
Yeah.
For when they make light of by the way,
Yeah.
I did actually know, I do know why Alex Earl unfollowed you, because I didn't tell you. It's because Alex Earl, in terms of her like engagement following list, Alex Earl is a CIO.
What's CIO?
Coachella Influencers Only.
No!
Dude, one thing is, all right, here's also what you realize about school is that actually, like, school is just a collection of subcultures.
Yeah.
There is no such thing. It's like, dude, there is a whole other world at school, and that world is called aftercare. And if your parents picked you up on time, you don't even know what you were missing out on, because my parents were late because my parents worked. You know what I mean? So then, like, at the end of the school day, all the other children would go out to the sun and be picked up by their smiling, waving parents. And then me, because I needed to go to aftercare, they would like drag me down into the dark dungeons of the school. Like aftercare, suddenly all like the fun, breezy, we're gonna make learning fun ended. The schools that are like, we're gonna make learning fun, they're like, we're not even gonna try to make aftercare not depressing. They literally took my aftercare at my school. They took me and like the 4 other kids who, by the way, we would never hang out with each other. It was aftercare is like a halfway house for school, not home, not school, a secret, terrible third thing. So we were aftercare for us. It was a windowless room, like right next to like the janitor's office. You might be thinking, I didn't know janitors had an office. That's because you didn't do aftercare.
Yeah.
If you do aftercare, you know all about the janitors because they're the only other people on the grounds. And we would literally just I would just sit there and we would eat stale Pop-Tarts for an hour and a half in aftercare.
I will say, when you say stale Pop-Tarts, what I was going through in my mind was I was always jealous of aftercare because I knew that they had packaged goldfish and I wasn't allowed to have packaged food because that was, I had an almond mom, wasn't allowed to have packaged snacks. And I really, really wanted to go to aftercare so I could eat the packaged goldfish. And so I literally was thinking, I bet you got packaged snacks. And you're over here being like, I had to eat packaged snacks. I'm like, I just want to package snacks. So grass is always greener. Because I also remember wanting to go to aftercare, but my mom didn't work. And I always remember being like, freaking mom, she just here picking me up.
Ugh, my mom picking me up on time.
Yeah. But I always say, I had a different kind of unique pickup trauma because my mom was a rollerblade mom. And so she would rollerblade with these massive rollerblades to pick me up. And I was always just like, oh my God. And I always say this, but I was around 5th grade, I started getting really sweaty. Do we want to keep talking about aftercare or can I segue?
No.
Do you have more on aftercare?
No, I think all I have on aftercare. Here's the thing about aftercare. It was a huge part of my life for many years, and I have nothing to say about it. And that's truly how you know it's so
you said,
empty.
it's just a halfway house.
It's just void.
It's a liminal space.
It's a liminal space. Yeah. Aftercare is a liminal space in the educational system.
I also think when you say that thing about how you and the other 4 kids you didn't interact outside of aftercare, it's that is so indicative of when you're in an environment that's weird, it's you don't even want to acknowledge it outside of.
Well, and by the way, when we would see the other people from when I would see the other kids from aftercare just during the normal school day from then on, it's we would never acknowledge we even knew each other.
Yeah.
We'd all just kind of give a subtle nod and then move past each other.
Damn.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of Breakfast Club coded, but I guess that was detention.
That was detention. And the thing about aftercare is aftercare is detention, but they're not allowed to call it that because detention's bad.
Well, it's detention that you didn't do anything to earn except for your parents can't pick you up at 3.
Yeah, because they have a job.
Because they have a job. Okay, anyway, I started getting really sweaty around 5th grade because that's when I had puberty. And people always say, or there's studies done about this, but girls famously stop participating in class around puberty. And the theories for this are that girls stop raising their hands in class because they're worried about seeming too smart because they don't want to intimidate the guys they have a crush on. No, it's because you start getting sweat stains. I loved to participate in class up until I started getting crazy pit stains. I was always raising my hand, and then one day I was like, I can't raise my hand. It's freaking wet as a freak under here. And I remember sitting in class, and in the same way I've talked about how when I had acne, I would just stare at everyone who didn't have acne and be like, you don't even know how good you have it. When I was in 6th grade, I remember my whole 6th grade experience dominated by me watching to see who had dry armpits and just being so jealous of them and their dry little pits. I was so jealous of anyone with dry pits.
The teacher's like, Dana, I saw you knew the answer, but you didn't raise your hand. Is it because you have a crush? And meanwhile, you're sitting in a puddle. You're like, yeah, I have a crush.
I have a crush.
And I don't want my crush to think I'm
too smart.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was just so sweaty.
Whereas boys do volunteer, and even when boys get sweaty, they still volunteer. And I think it's a subtle branding issue where boys are told that being stinky is funny.
Yeah.
In boy world, stinky's funny. Ha, we're boys. We fart and stink.
Right.
Therefore, boys raise their hand. Therefore, they get better grades. Therefore, they get better jobs. Therefore, the wage gap.
And it all starts with that boys think it's funny to be stinky.
And girls think it's shameful to be stinky.
Yeah.
And really, it's either we all need to be ashamed of being stinky or we all need to think it's funny to be stinky.
Yeah. I don't know. What do you think?
Well, I think nothing. I don't think anything.
I think I have a crush on Robert.
That's why.
Yeah.
If you've enjoyed this episode, please tell your friends. Follow on Spotify.
Unless you're like us and you don't have friends. No pressure.
No pressure to make a friend.
I just want to say this. Yeah, in your life, you will encounter people expecting you to have friends, and just know it's normal if you don't.
This is us to our kid. After doing a whole song and dance about, we're going to tell him what's normal. We're going to be like, it's normal to be alone, to be sweaty and alone. Our kid's just sitting in aftercare, drenched in their own sweat with no friends. And they're like, My mom and dad say this is what it's supposed to be like.
And they don't have a name.
Yeah.
Because I told them they could pick it.
But okay, I'm gonna go the opposite. I'm gonna be like, if you're watching this podcast, go make 4 friends. Have those 4 friends listen to this podcast, and then tell all of those 4 friends to go make 4 friends, and have those 4 friends. This podcast is a pyramid scheme.
Yes.
If we want to get out of this what we want, it needs to be an MLM.
And if you tell 4 friends about this, you will be financially free.
I remember one time we went to a Bernie Sanders rally because we have great politics. This was back in the day.
Unless you don't like Bernie Sanders, in which case, neither do we.
Yeah, but anyway, we were at a Bernie Sanders rally, and literally, this was back, we showed up to this rally having so much hope because we really wanted Bernie to win.
We thought Bernie could win.
But then at this rally, it was the only rally that made me lose faith in a political candidate because like one of the people speaking for him went up before him and they went, if everyone at this rally convinces 5 people a week to vote for Bernie every week until the election, Bernie's gonna win. And I'm just kind of like, yeah, I'd hope so with that math. I'm sitting there like ready. I'm like, wait a minute. Like if I'm not mistaken, Bernie would win with 300% of the vote.
Yeah.
If everyone watching this podcast convinces 5 people a week to listen to this podcast every week until next year's Coachella, we'll be
at Coachella.
We'll be at Coachella.
Most definitely.
Well, I was going to say we'll be Alex Earl. We'll become her.
We'll like morph into her.
Yeah.
I did make a TikTok where I talked about how like I was thinking about going blonde and getting huge cans. Maybe that was what made her unfollow me. Because she was like, she's trying to be me.
Hope you guys liked the pod.
See ya.